finally going to tell Arya's birth story. She's only going to be a year in like 2 weeks, and I'm finally telling it. You'll probably hear kids running around and a couple are on the Xbox arguing. I don't want this to be too long, and I don't know how much battery I have, so I'm going to try to get it all done real quick. But I'm finally telling Arya's birth story, and don't mind my natural poofy crazy hair. It's better than a bun on top of my head because I've been dealing with some headache stuff, so I've been trying to just leave my hair down and let it be. So before Arya wakes up and before anybody gets crazy, let's get into it. Arya was born on December 12th, 2017. I almost said 2018. And she was born at 42 weeks on the day. So she was born on the 12th. So around, let's see here, December 7th. So I was 41 weeks and 2 days. I had an ultrasound to check the baby's like heart and like fluid levels and muscle movements and stuff. So 41-2, she said, let's get an ultrasound and check everything. And she wanted me to score at least an 8 out of 10. But that had to do with certain things. I think it was an 8 out of 10. I don't know exactly. I don't really remember at this point because it was like a year ago. So I should have made this a while ago. But anyways, at the ultrasound, my fluid levels did look low. So they did look low, so she wanted me to up my water intake, like a lot, because I hadn't really been drinking any water, which is one reason that it could have looked low, because I was kind of dehydrated, because I really wasn't keeping much down, and water wasn't just, like, appealing to me at that point. So anyways, I was on it, like, gonna drink a bunch of water. So December 9th at 41 and 4 days, I had an appointment and she did a membrane sweep. I had cramping, but nothing really happened from that. She did have me drink this labor tincture. So it's like you take little shots of this labor tincture every like half an hour, and they monitor you. You stay there. They listen to baby's heartbeat every little bit, kind of walk around, and sometimes it can like aggravate your uterus enough to where it kicks into labor. Some ladies, they've had labor start like instantly, like within like just a little bit, and then some it took like a day. Well, I drank it and I did all the monitoring and everything, and it didn't really do anything to me. So I went home and I pumped because nipple stimulation can jumpstart contractions too. So I pumped and I had irregular contractions and I had a bad backache, and I know there was some other stuff going on. And then I had a fractured tailbone from having Aiden, which is my first. So anytime that labor starts to get close, it aches and aches and aches more and more. And it was really hurting that day. And I was 4 centimeters dilated at that appointment. So, she was like, I think it'll be soon, you know, just let's try something. So we tried the tincture, we did the membrane sweep, you know, I went home and pumped, all this stuff. I went to bed and woke up to nothing. So nothing really worked. So on December 10th, she had me come back because at this point, we were really trying to work on getting a baby out because I was over 41 weeks and I was getting really close to 42, and I did not want to be transferred to a hospital. I really was set on having my baby at the birth center, and I just wanted to do everything as naturally as possible that we could do to get it going. So December 10th, I went back. I was 41 in 5 days, and I started losing my bloody show that day. She checked me and I was still 4 centimeters, but she said it was pretty stretchy, and so she asked me if I wanted to try a castor oil smoothie, which you think is really gross. And I've done the castor oil thing before, and it is really gross. But she made it with orange juice, vanilla ice cream, the castor oil, of course. And the only thing was it really smelled bad, but you couldn't really feel, because you know, if you've done castor oil, you feel the grossness. It's like a feeling of it. The smell is really bad. So she made me like a smoothie of that, and I just like drank it down. I gagged a little bit because the smell was really bad, and ooh, it was just awful. But so I drank it, and it did give me some contractions. And I just went home. She said I could stay there and she could monitor me, which she did for like an hour. But then she's like, you can just go home. And basically she said, you can go home and crap on the toilet, or you can stay here and do it. And because it makes you go to the bathroom. And so I was like, I'll just go home, because I really wasn't feeling like anything was going to happen. I mean, I was really hopeful that it would, but at this point I was like, oh, my life, I'm just going to go to 42 weeks. So I just went home, and I did get some contractions here and there, and then I woke up and it was just gone. So on December 11th, 41 weeks and 6 days, it was day 3 of trying to naturally induce this baby. And I had tons of bloody show at this point. Tons of mucus and tons of just stuff where I've never lost my mucus plug. I've never had bloody show or anything unless I was in labor and I didn't notice. So me noticing it all, I kind of freaked out, and I kept texting her pictures, and like I was really freaking out about it. And she's like, no, this is all good stuff. It's all great. It's, you know, it's getting closer and stuff. But me, I've never had any of that. So I was just like, is this normal? Because it was a lot. And so that was my first for actually seeing all that. And so, the labor tincture, I didn't tell you guys, but it's ginger root, blue Cornish, I don't know how to say it exactly, and black Cornish. I don't know how to say it, but it's like a mixture of those. And it's just like a little bit of the tincture, and then she put some like Gatorade in there for me, and you just like take a shot of it. It's really gross. It was so bad, but I do think it helped a little bit. So she was like, let's do 4 doses of this baby. And I was like, all right, let's do it. I didn't care. So I did 4 doses of it the first go around, and she monitored me, and then she checked me, and I was 5 centimeters and 30%, and baby was a -3. And then so she's like, we could do a second dose, like a second of the 4 doses, because it's, you do 4 doses and then you're supposed to kind of go into labor. But for me, it just wasn't happening. So she's like, we can do another round of those 4 doses if you want to. And I was like, yeah, let's do it, because at this point I'm ready. Let's do it. So we did another one, and then I was kind of having contractions, but I wasn't really feeling them. So I was just kind of like, I don't know. I don't really think anything's happening. So she's like, you want me to check you? Because they're super good about, like, they don't want to check you unless you want them to, type of thing. They will, but they don't really, like, it's not like on their to-do list up here. So she was like, I can check you if you want, just to see if it did anything. And at that point, I was 6 centimeters and 60% effaced, and a -1, the baby was -1 station after my second dose. So at this point I was in labor, and I got to stay at the birth center, but they were just kind of like, you know, I was just laughing. We were talking like nothing was a big deal. And I was like, I can feel them, I guess. So in between the 2 doses, I went home is what happened. I went home, and I was like, I kind of feel them, I think. And I started timing them, and it was like every 3 minutes I was like, yeah, I'm getting one. They don't hurt. And I don't really know how long they are, because they're like barely there. It was like I could barely feel them. And then when I went back and I did the second dose, that's what happened. She's like, well, you're in labor, like it's just not very intense, I guess. So do you want to stay? And I was like, yeah, I'll stay. So we did the second round of that and stuff. And I was 6 centimeters and everything. So they were like, all right, well, let's get everything ready. And labor started around 5 p.m. is my guess, off of what the little ones that I could tell were kind of like crampy contractions, I guess, but that's when labor started for me. So I was in labor, but I wasn't in any pain at all. So all the contractions were hurting, but they were actually helping. So all these little tiny contractions I was feeling, they weren't painful. They weren't anything where I was like had to breathe through them, nothing. A couple made me kind of like make a little face like, yeah, I'm feeling it type of thing, but they weren't really anything that I've experienced before. So it was kind of nice, but it was kind of like, I hope this is actually like, you know, working. Because in my mind, I'm like, I hope I'm not transferred to a hospital because I'm just standing here laughing and like joking with everyone. I don't know. So anyways, they were staying around 3 to 5 minutes apart from what we could tell. At one point, my doula's like, I think they've slowed down, but they hadn't. They weren't painful at all. So I was just kind of like not paying attention to them because we were all talking and stuff. So they hadn't really had slowed down, but she gave me a little bit longer. I did a few different things with Rob. This wrap thing they wrapped around my stomach and like did a few different things. I bounced on the ball for a while. I don't know. I didn't do much of anything else. I did some squats, I think. Not really much. And she had came in. She took a nap and she had came in and it was probably, let's say, it was like 1:30 in the morning, 2:30? I think 2:30. 2:30 in the morning. I didn't write it down, so I'm not sure, but it was like a couple hours before I had her. It was like 2:30 in the morning. And she's like, so let me just check you and we'll see where the baby is. We'll see if I can get any of your bag and you want me to just pop your water. And she's like, because I really think that's what's going to do it for you. I think if we break your water, it's just going to all take off. And yes, at this point I was really tired because we were on what? 1, 2, 3, on day 3 of trying to get the baby out. I was tired. I was sick of like having contractions and them just going away. And like, I was just tired. So I was like, yeah, if you can break it, like, 'cause she didn't want to, the other time she had felt the baby's head was so like to the bag, she was like, I don't think we should do it right now. So she's like, if she can get a piece of bulging bag, she was gonna pop it. And she thought that would do it. And I did too because of labors in the past. So she checked me and she's like, you're about a 7. And she's like, so you've left your weight to 7 centimeters. And she's like, so you want me to just do it? She's like, I think I can get it. And then I was like, yeah, just do it. And so she popped my water. And it was like, bam. Just all full-blown, intense labor knocked me. And I was on the ball, and Rob was sitting behind me, and my doula was in front of me. And I was just like, whew. I was making a bunch of noises. I was trying to like stay calm and, you know, keep my noises at a lower level. I've learned all that from having so many babies. And I was just really focused. And it was just like, they were just coming quick. Bam, bam, bam. And she walked in because she had heard me. And she's like, has she been like this since I popped her bag? And they were like, yeah, I could kind of like hear them, but my eyes were closed. Like I was just like focused. And she was like, I think it's going to be like quick. And so I tried to stand up and it was just like so bad trying to stand there. Cause she was like, it's good if you can stand here for just a little bit. And I was just like, I just want to get in the bed. It was bad trying to stand there. And so, I got into the bed and I kind of felt like I could push, but I was like, And then I started to push when the contractions were coming because it just felt better. And she had went in to check me, but Arya was trying to come out like this. And she had scratches on her head from like her nails and stuff. So she had to like slip her arm out of the way. And she said, I just had a little sliver of cervix left. So she like tried to like massage it out of the way, and it went out of the way. And then I pushed her out. She felt really big to me because I've never had like trouble pushing out a baby. I mean, Aiden was my longest that I pushed for. And all my other kids, I've literally pushed for like 10 minutes or 3 pushes, 1 push. Like, I've never like struggled pushing out a baby. And it was a little bit of a struggle. I pushed for a little bit. We didn't really time it or anything because literally from when she broke my water at like, I don't know. I don't remember exactly the time that she popped my bag. 2 something. It was 2 something. I had her at like 4:06, 4:04 in the morning. So it went very fast. And so I don't know how long I actually pushed for, but I could tell I was struggling because I was getting frustrated, and she's like, "You're doing fine," and stuff. And then I had her. It was really quick. And then I looked up and Rob's face looked very terrified. I could tell that something was like going on, and they just weren't really saying anything. Arya was fine. She was just laying on me, and but I had lost lots of blood. I just was like losing blood. And they have like the mats under you that they change out and stuff. And they're like, "We need you to lift up, and we need you to change your mat." And Rob's face was like terrified. And I was just like, "What's going on?" Like, and I'm just like looking at him, and he just looked at me. He's like, "You're fine. You're doing great." And so I knew something was wrong, but I just didn't like, I wasn't like getting it, I guess. I was more just focused on her. But they had picked it up, Rob said, and carried it over to like the bin to throw it in. And Rob said it was like dripping like of blood. And she put a new one under me and stuff. And the placenta was just having a hard time coming out. My uterus was not shrinking down very good, which this has all happened to me before, but I've never bled really bad. So they gave me some medicine under my tongue. I think gave me a shot in my leg. And it all seemed to calm down just a bit, but when I was pushing the placenta out, I felt blood coming out too. I just felt like a big gush. So she gave me like another round of it. And then everything was fine. Everything had calmed down. And she said, "You made me a little nervous." And she's like, "But it's all good. It's all under control." She said she thinks that I was, to call it a hemorrhage, she says she thinks like I was just like an ounce away from calling that a hemorrhage because of how much blood I lost. She said, I was doing good. I was talking to them. I was like laughing. I wasn't trying to pass out. Just all like things that you would do from a lot of blood loss. I wasn't really doing. I was staying focused. I was trying to get the placenta out. So she wasn't freaking out, but she was inside. So that was like the big, Rob's like, "You're done having babies. This is it." Like, scared him to death. I wasn't as scared. I felt really bad afterwards. So I felt good, like having a natural birth. It always makes me feel like good. I feel like I'm like ready to go after having a baby. But this time I could really tell that something had happened. Like, I felt freezing cold for one. I was shivering. So they cranked the heat up. So Rob was dying. I guess from the blood loss, I was just like freezing. And I was shaking. I felt super weak. That took me like a good few days to like feel better. But overall, it was an amazing experience. I loved having her at the birth center that I chose. I love my midwife. I love my doula to death. I still talk to them, and I wish they were here so I could have baby number 7 with them. But yeah, it was crazy. I do carry my babies to 40 weeks or over, which is just my normal, but she was sticking it out. She went to 42 on the dot, and I was a little surprised, but it was a great experience. I loved it. And I will have her labor vlog type stuff linked up here or down in the comments somewhere so you guys can go see that, because it was it was awesome. I loved it. My girls were all there with me. Rob was there, and it was just, it was good. Yeah, so I think it took me so long to share it because at first I didn't want to share it because just because of all the stuff that happened after. I just didn't know how I would share it. It did really make us nervous to have more kids, but I think it was just like an initial thing because for me that wore off really quick.
12 hours away.
I know. And Rob, I think it was just something scary for him. He definitely was like, if you have any more babies, it's gonna be at a hospital and stuff like that. But we've healed from it, I guess. It was a little scary, a little rough, but it was probably my most like amazing birth experience ever. Like, it was just top notch for me. I loved it. It was just like the best ever. So thanks for watching, and I hope you enjoyed this video. If you did, give it a thumbs up and subscribe if you haven't. And stick around for our next video. I'm going to be updating you on this pregnancy and our plans for this baby's birth. So we will see you again soon. Thanks for watching. Bye.